time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure, so let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Buck Baits,
Better the Hunt,
Rebel 6 Rubs and Seasonings,
Easy Cut,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Packer Max,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Scent Blocker,
Scent Lock,
Copper John,
and Stanislavski Release Aids.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin and having way too much fun tonight already before we even started.
So. Even I got to remind you to record the show.
So before we get started tonight, though, let's tell the good people how they can save a little money.
Absolutely. There's nothing better than going out, helping the supporters of Up North Journal by supporting them. One of the first ones, Rebel 6 Rub. Definitely it's barbecue season. Get out there. If you want to save 20% off your order, go over to rebel6rubs.com, and on your checkout, use the promo code NORTHJOURNAL, and you'll get 20% off of there.
I used some of the dragon dust this week on some.
How'd that work out?
On boiled eggs. Oh my gosh.
Really?
Good. Yes.
I tell you what, if you're looking to start thinking about fall and getting over to Buck's Baits, seeing what they got on their lineup over there, they got some great stuff in there. They got some new stuff in their lineup, from hand sanitizer to stakes, reflective stakes to help you track yardage. Go over there, check out their website. You can get 20% off your order when you check out, going over to buckbaits.com, and then use the promo code UpNorthJournal. And as we drink it here in the cabin, nothing better than Hunter's Blend Coffee. And if you want to get 10% off your order, go over to huntersblendcoffee.com, use the promo code UNJ, and you'll get 10% off your order when you check out. And it's been a while since we talked to Slade over at Trips for Trade. People, with this COVID going on, trips getting canceled and whatnot. But if you want to start thinking about maybe trading for a trip, go over to tripsfortrade.com. If you use the promo code UpNorth20, you'll get 20% off your yearly membership over there. It knocks it down to about $100, and then you can start trading to go somewhere and hunt.
All right, we got that out of the way. Let's just go ahead and get into it tonight. Hey, Bobby Vargas, what is going on, my man? How you doing?
I am doing well. How are you guys today?
Hey, we're doing good. I want to give a quick shout out, though. Dustin Geiger, first time watching, long time on the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. You couldn't have tuned in to a better episode than the one tonight, because we got Bobby on from PSE. Bobby, what is going on in Tucson? Before the show, you said you guys are a little hot out there. You guys got something brewing in the backyard over there, close to the factory?
Well, it's inherently hot here in Tucson anyway. We've been over 100 degrees for several days now, a couple 109-degree days. But right north of town, a week and a half ago, a lightning strike started a fire up in the mountain range there, and that thing's just burned out of control. They had some emergency evacuations already just north of town, and luckily there were no structure fires. They were able to stop it before it got into the residential areas, but it's still burning pretty good. I don't know how far contained they have it, but it's still going pretty good. But other than that, Tucson is just hot. I heard you guys saying something about getting down into the 40s overnight, somewhere in the 30s somewhere up there. I'm so jealous about that. The only time I feel that is when I open the fridge to get a cold drink.
Go figure, right?
Yeah, but you know what? It's right the opposite for us in the winter, because you're shoveling sunshine, as you say, all the time when we talk. So, we could use that in the winter a little.
Pretty much, right? It's give and take.
That's right.
You give it in January when we see you, and we'll give it back to you in June when we see you. So we're even.
Yeah. Well, I have to be in Indianapolis most of the time in January, so those 7 or 8 days there is enough for me.
Right? Yeah, because it's never warm that time of year in Indy. It's always a treacherous trip, either coming down or going back for us for ATA. I tell you. Although this year wasn't too bad. I think we had some pretty decent weather this year.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't too bad. If I remember right, I want to say there were a couple of days during the show that it was colder down here in Tucson than it was up there for us.
Yeah, it was crazy. Thunderstorms and stuff like that going on, if I remember right. So, you talk about crazy stuff going on. I mean, right now, things across the United States is, it's a little wild, but, we got the COVID thing. Has there been any early word yet about ATA 2021 with COVID or
We've
not?
been having meetings with ATA. We just had another one last Tuesday, as a matter of fact, or Tuesday before last. Over the last several months, they've been pushing back our booth selection date, usually by March, we've already picked our booth space, and we're making a lot of plans for the show. But that's right when the whole COVID shutdown started happening. So booth selection dates kept getting pushed back, but we finally settled on July 7th is our booth selection date. The dates for the show are set and still set. All they've been telling us is they're going to play it by ear between now and then to see if it's going to happen. But as of this moment, the 2021 ATA show is on, and we'll be there.
Good deal. I hope that we're able to get to see and spend some time with you again this coming year. Hopefully we can put all this bad stuff behind us,
Yeah. I can't wait to get through this year. We're not even halfway through it yet, and with all this crazy stuff that's going on, I hope that we have some resolution soon and we can put all this behind us and get back to living normal life again.
Yeah, I know that they're starting some archery tournaments around the United States. We're starting to see some of that. The only tournament that I've been able to is one against myself in the backyard. When I get time, I can go out and shoot, but that's about it. So here locally. But Danny and I we're going to go to TAC, Total Archery Challenge, at the end of August here in Michigan. We got our tickets for that, so we're going to be spending 2 days on the mountain and trying to not bust a bunch of arrows. So
I've been following you. I'm a little jealous of your 4 mile runs there in the morning. That's pretty awesome. I'm proud of you.
Well, I'm getting ready for that. You got to get your mountain legs. I mean, for what we've got for mountains compared to what y'all have got is totally different. But for us, we're not used to climbing steep hills and stuff like that. So yeah, Danny, he's been training a lot. I've been training a lot. So we're getting ready, and you get a free time next year. Come on over and climb some mountains with us and shoot some arrows.
Yeah. It's that would be a lot of fun. Something we've been wanting to do, and this year a few of us were all ready to do it. And during the spring, during the time frame when we were going to start participating, everything shut down.
Right.
And right now it's just too dang hot. I ain't going to do it right now. I can make a million other excuses, but it's just too dang hot for us down here. So to run up there and do one with you guys in June time frame in the 40s and 50s, that would be pretty nice.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you. And you know what? Mike's been running 4 miles. He's up to 4 miles. I walk about 5 miles a day. And just kind of, it's all about being healthy. After being at ATA, talking with Pedro and Dudley, it was all about being healthy and taking care of the one and only vehicle you have. So, Mike and I are on that healthy train. So,
and Donnie Vincent, he was another one.
Donnie Vincent, another one.
And Tim Andrus, the same thing. All the PSE guys, the hunters and shooters. That's been the big push lately. So, we're kind of trying to fall right in line behind them. Obviously, we're nowhere near where they're at, but you got to start somewhere. So, but hey,
you got to start somewhere. You can't just wake up tomorrow and want to be there and expect to be there. We didn't get out of shape overnight, and we're not going to get in shape overnight. So it's a process, and it's life changing. It's not short term. You got to make it your lifestyle, and especially if you're doing what you want to do. There's nothing worse than sucking in, hiking up a mountain to get to an animal. But
right. Well, it's like Danny and I, we started small and we're just progressing and just getting better every day. And that's just where you got to do it. I mean, if Danny and I can do it, anybody can do it.
And you're right, Bobby. It becomes it's two things. It's a lifestyle change, but most importantly, that I've found out is when you make goals, make them attainable. Don't make them so far out there that you get disgusted with yourself that you haven't lost your 85 pounds or whatever you're thinking of doing. Make little strides. You're in a marathon. You're not in a race. And once you hit the first one, it's like, oh, hey, I did that. Then the next one, and then the next one. And then that just rolls down. And matter of fact, kind of taking that health thing, years ago, the one and only Pete Shepley started PSE doing the little steps. And now look at you guys. We've been at ATA with you guys, and you guys are just blowing it away, getting the great engineering out there. And let's get into the bows that you want to talk about tonight, because
he's got 2 of them behind him right there.
I know, and that's the thing. It's like I'm excited to talk about the engineering the guys that you have out there that seem awesome. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, we have an incredible team down there. They continue to amaze me every year. I don't know how many times I put a bow in my hand and I think, man, how could it get any better than this? And they manage to do it. Every year, they amaze me.
Well, which one do you want to start with?
Well, why don't we just go right to the top?
I like it.
We may as well just lead in with the new 2020. You see that?
Absolutely. Yep. That's the Mach 1.
The Stealth Mach 1, the carbon bow from PSE.
Yep, the Stealth Mach 1. We've had the carbon bow since 2016 now. Actually, we were the first one to introduce the carbon back in 1996. Not a lot of people know that, especially today's customers. Today's customers are a lot younger than the three of us on this show right now, so they may not remember the carbon that we introduced back in 1996. But we did do the first carbon back then. There's been several others since then, but we reintroduced carbon in our line back in 2016, and we've grown from there. We went from that carbon stealth, or the carbon air, to the carbon stealth, to the Stealth Mach 1. We learned a lot about carbon manufacturing with the stealth model. The first two carbons, I will say, those were designed by us, but produced for us from an outside source, a domestic source, by the way. But we learned a lot about carbon manufacturing, and we actually brought it in-house to Tucson at the factory last summer. So this Mach 1 is produced right at the PSE Factory here in Tucson, Arizona. One of the big things the biggest changes between the Stealth and the Mach is the grip area right here. When we did the second generation carbon, as you remember, we did away with the bridge handle, went with the solid handle design, much like you see this one here. But in order to maintain the strength, we had to really build it up in the grip area right here. But we learned a lot about the manufacturing process, learned how to strengthen it and keep it light, or even lighter, actually. And that's how we ended up with the Mach 1. 32 inches axle, 3.3 pounds mass weight. We have the small grip that was on the original carbon back from 2016. We learned how to strengthen up the entire handle. We're able to produce this one in 80 pounds as well. The first two carbon handles, we couldn't do that. But we're able to give you guys the smaller grip section and offer 80 pounds. The other change for this year is more of a laid-back limb design, so that it gives you a much better feel, smoother draw, a little bit deeper brace sight. It helps it point and aim a little better. We did lose a couple feet per second, but we're still in the high 330s, 340s, low 340s, so still great speeds, but you're gaining better feel, which they felt incredible to begin with, but now they feel even better, maintaining some good speed, and just incredible feel all the way around.
You know, when we were at ATA this past season, that was the first thing. We didn't get to shoot that bow. We were just simply didn't have enough time to go through the entire lineup. But the one thing I noticed, you mentioned that grip, and that was the biggest change. That grip, to me, looks just like the ones really that are on all your other metal riser bows, right?
Yes. It's the same. It's the same profile this way, so it's the same width as all of them are. But we were able to maintain the smaller profile this way as well, much like the original carbon. I just happen to have one right here. I got all my junk on here, so you can't see the grip area, but got the same size and profile as the original Mach 1, or the original carbon air.
You know, what's the weight of that? Because I think the carbon ones are a great addition. If you're going to be heading out west, you're going to be going up and down mountains, putting it on the backpack, carrying it a long ways. Even if you're walking in here in the Northwoods, right? Mm-hmm. You know, the weight of that bow comes in at
3.3
pounds.
3.3 pounds, and you can put that on the backpack, and you can walk a long ways with it and not worry about adding extra weight that you needed.
Well, you know, the one thing I noticed here last week when I was shooting, you know, and people say, well, what's a couple pounds? You know, I had my target rig out, and I had my my EVO 28 out, and they were, you know, had them both there on my bow stand, and I was going to shoot them both. So I'm shooting my target bow, then I picked the 28 up and shot it, and that target bow to me was so much pronounced heavier because I was shooting them both. And you really wouldn't think that, you know, 2, 3, 4 pounds is that big a deal, but it makes a huge difference. And then if you're packing like out where y'all are at, and you're going deep in, those couple extra pounds, that means you could take maybe some extra water or something else that you really need out in the field.
Yep, definitely. Out here, I primarily hunt down in the mountains of the southwest area. Here in southern Arizona, a lot of tall mountains. We hunt trees here. years out here, but our mountains are not forgiving at all. And I'm not in the best shape in the world, but we can navigate these mountains pretty good. Pedro runs circles around us when he's down here with us. But yeah, any bit of weight that you can cut from your overall gear and your pack that lets you take some more water or some more provisions or just any of your essentials, even if you do have everything that you need, but you can still cut some overall weight. It helps a ton. That moment you leave the truck, you might not notice it, but when you're on the way back in the afternoon, that's when those couple of pounds make a big difference.
Well, it's also added poundage when you're packing out your game that you got. You know, that added 3, 4, 5 pounds to that a bunch of pounds of meat that you're backpacking as well. Right there, it helps.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
right. Take a look at that carbon Stealth Mach 1. The one thing I want to mention about that carbon, and this is the same with all of our carbons since we introduced the Carbon Air, is it is a single monocoque construction design. So this is one solid handle with an acoustic core inside of it. And that acoustic core, what it does is it absorbs any shock or vibration before it reaches the shell, so you don't feel anything in your hand. You know, when it's 107 down here or 17 degrees up where you are, this grip is going to feel almost the same no matter what the temperature is. That's another cool feature about it. When you have that aluminum handle bow in your hand and it's 17 degrees in a tree stand, you finally get a chance to grab that bow. It's like grabbing a block of ice, but you're not going to feel that with this carbon handle.
You know, you talked about bringing all of that back into the factory, working on the carbon. You know, that was a big deal for you guys to make that commitment to bring that back in-house. You know, since you've done that, I mean, I got to imagine it gives you a lot more control over the process.
Huge. It gives us 100% control over the process. But the neat thing about it is if and when we ever learn that we need to make a change or make a design change or a structural change, it's all right. I have a visitor with me that you might hear or see in the video here.
Oh, that's okay. We like visitors.
But he's been crying in the other room trying to get to me this whole time we've been chatting, so he's sitting with me here now. Anyway, the great thing about it is, you know, having complete control of the manufacturing process right in the factory is if we suddenly see a need for a change or a structural change or just any kind of change, we can respond to it immediately and implement that change into the process on the spot. In the past, when we would learn something about it or we needed to make a change or something had to happen, we had to go to our supplier at the time, talk to them, teach them about what we want. They had to learn about what we wanted out of it and then implement the change at that point. We were still producing great bows back then, but with having the manufacturing process in-house in Tucson, we can react to those changes much quicker. Plus, with Pete walking around the factory, he can walk in and make some pretty quick changes with those folks, have them do whatever it is that he's looking for out of that bow, and we can do it immediately.
Well, I got to imagine working with John Dudley, too, some of the things that he's tinkering with there, that just lends to that as well, being able to make those changes and see them much quicker, like you were saying.
Yeah, huge.
You know, and that's one of the things you gotta say about PSE. Bringing it inside, giving you that quality control at a moment's notice within the plant floor itself does wonders. Speaking from experience of when you don't have control right at your fingertips, getting a change done, getting something taken care of that needs to be done quickly does not happen quickly. But with you guys pulling that inside, it's just one more thing PSE's done to help them become one of the top bows manufacturers.
And just so everyone that's watching knows, it was the carbon manufacturing process that we brought inside. All of our aluminum handles were already made here at our factory. Our limbs, our cans, our cable strings, all that was already made at our factory. The only part of that process that we brought back inside was the carbon manufacturing.
Exactly, and I was going to touch on that with the next bow you're going to show us, is that you guys do it all in-house, and that's one of the things, whether it be at aluminum, now carbon, whether it's your strings, it's all on the shop floor that you can, you know, Bobby Vargas has an issue, or Pete Shepley's walking and he sees something he doesn't like, he's going to make a change, and it's going to happen.
That's exactly right. But luckily, you guys kind of touched on that at the beginning of the show. We have a great team of engineers, and by the time that bow makes it to the dealer shelf, we feel like we pretty well perfected it. We don't forget about it. We don't think that we've gone as far as we can go. We're always trying to get better. But by the time a particular model makes it to your hand, we feel that we built the best thing for you at that point. And at that point is when we're always trying to figure out a better way to make it, any way to make it to save you a couple dollars but maintain performance. Whatever it is, we're always thinking about it.
Well, talking a little more about the Stealth Mach 1. That's running the ECS cam system, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right. That cam is running on its 4th year now. It's too good to change it. The adjustability of it is incredible. The feel of it is incredible. It feels so smooth. I've heard from so many people over the years since we introduced it that it feels like it's 10 pounds lighter than whatever other cam they were pulling at the time, but even some of our cams too. It feels like it's 10 pounds lighter than whatever else they were pulling at the time. The 90% let off out of the box is incredible. And if that's too much for you, you can adjust it down to 85 or 80. And if you want less than that, we offer lower let off modules too. You can do 65, 70, 75. So whatever let off you want, whatever holding weight you're looking for. I know with a lot of the target shooters, are not necessarily looking for let off. They always want a specific holding weight back here that just makes them break that shot as clean as they can. So you can find whatever holding weight or let off it is that you're interested in with that ECS cam.
It's almost like I equate it to an AR platform style of rifle that you build and you can put add-ons on or change and manipulate things in a different way. That's the way you guys have set this stuff up, is a person can truly build it the way they want it and where it fits their feel.
Yeah, so many options with that cam, and none of those options compromise performance either. In the past, with any of our cams that were so highly adjustable, they all performed well, but you would lose a little bit whenever you have such a wide range of adjustment. But with the ECS cam, you're still maintaining great performance and feel throughout the entire system, from one draw length range of the spectrum to the other. The neat thing about that ECS cam too is with any other let-off adjustable cam that's out there, including some of ours in the past, when you went to the higher let-off option, you would lose some speed. But with the ECS cam, you actually maintain the same speed or gain a foot or two by going to the 90% let-off. It's really cool. So you don't lose any speed or performance staying in the feel-good high let-off position of the cam.
That's awesome, and then we're just talking about, the cam system and the carbon bow, but you've got the NXT there as well. And how about we take a break? We'll come back. We'll talk about that bow next in the PSE lineup.
All right, let's step outside. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at PSEArchery.com.
Welcome back. Sitting over here in the UNJ cabin, Danny and I were talking all the way to Tucson, Arizona with Bobby Vargas, PSE. Talking bows, talking all good things PSE. So we talked about the stealth. And so now I know you've got that NXT sitting there by you. So you want to talk about that next?
I do. The top of the line aluminum handles for us for this year are our EVO NXT series models. Right now we have them in 4 different options. We have a 31, a 33, and a 35. That 35 is also offered as a short draw and long draw version. So you can get it with the SE cam or with the ECS cam. So we get those 4 EVO models. And then at the ATA show, which most of you already know, we introduced another one called the Mach edition, inspired by our new partner, John Dudley. So that's why I brought this 33 to talk to you about. So this one is the EVO NXT 33. It's all the same features with a 31 and 35. So we can talk about this 33 and cover them all. So an all new handle for this year. We went with a slightly longer handle again than we did last year because one of the things we did was we laid the limbs back a little more this year than we had on the Evoke models last year. That's going to give you a better feel on the shot. It did increase brake heights a little bit, so it's going to add to your accuracy and stability. Still getting crazy good speeds on all models between 335 and 345, between the 31 and the 35. Great new grip that we've always had. Color fusion options, black options, tan sand options, moss yoke breakup country. Just about any cool camo out there that you would want or cool color you want, we offer it. Got the same ECS cam system that we were talking about just a little bit ago. This will come to you at 90% let off right out of the box. There's a little stop here on this side where you can adjust the let off to 85 or 80%. Just a phenomenal bow, great feel to it, great performance. It's hard for me to sit here and tell you how good this bow is. You really need to get down to your dealer and put one in your hands and try it for yourself. All of us all day long can tell you how good they feel, but until you put this bow in your hands and really feel the difference, that's when it's going to really open your eyes.
You know what, Bobby? You're right. That what you just said is the magic words there. Don't take for what we say or what Bobby says or what you hear. Go shoot them. And that's what we tell everybody when they're out there and they say, oh, you guys shoot. Well, you know what? Go shoot them. You see the videos of us shooting them, and that goes to tell you, we pick them up, we shoot them. We'll be heading over to Sunrise to look at the other bows that are over there to get our bows set up. But it's like a car, folks. You're going to pay some good amount of money for this product, but you want it to be right for you.
Yeah.
So get out there, test drive it, test shoot it, and see how it works for you.
Well, like in the video here, we shot these at ATA, and we say it every year. It's like, how much better can it get? But I was completely blown away at how these things felt in the hand after the shot, how smooth they are. It's just, once again, every year we keep saying, can it get better? Well, yeah, it does, and it just keeps getting better and better. Every year we show up.
When we introduced the Evolve series 4 years ago, I couldn't imagine the bow getting any better than that. And then we went from the Evolve to the Evoke to the EVO series. And the EVO NXT, the next generation of Evolve, is just incredible. One of the few things that didn't change was the grip. We mentioned that already. That's just too good not to change. The cam is too good not to change. We did go to a solid rod system, as you can see there, instead of the flex yard system. We went to a solid rod, and we also offered, I don't know if you noticed when I was flipping it around, a secondary stabilizer mount.
Yes.
We got the standard up here that we're used to, but we also offered a secondary one down there. The real neat thing about that one is it lets you drop your stabilizer bar down, and since it's further away from your pivot point, it takes less weight to balance it. Basically, helping set that bow plumb and balance that bow during the shot. Depending on your shooting style, you can achieve the same results with less mass weight.
So it kind of acts like a plumb bob because that center of gravity or center point is down lower.
Exactly. Yeah. Plus, the live wire custom bowstrings that we're making in-house, those things are incredible. There's a little area that's covered with camo curtains and signed around it called Area 51. We don't let very many people go back there to look at the process. But all I know about it, to be real honest, it's just there's a bunch of great folks back there building some good products. It's all computer generated. There's very little hand management in it. It's all built off the computers. So that string that's made on Friday night at 3:30 is as good of a quality as it was on Monday at 7 a.m. If that makes any sense for production standpoint. But a great string, just a great bow all the way around. But like I said, you got to get down to your dealer, ask them for it. We've been shipping these since last October, November. So your dealers have them already now that a lot of the stores are starting to open up again. If you can get into a store to get your hands on one, definitely try that out.
You know, and that's another thing I do say about the PSE bows. There's a lot of these guys out there, like to change their first thing to do is they switch out the strings and everything. And I typically don't. I shoot everything stock PSE because I want to know from my my PSE person that's sending me this bow to use, I want to know everything that they've, from top to bottom, front to back, that everything's been done and it's to their best of their ability. Like you said, whether it's 4 o'clock on a Friday or 7 a.m. on a Monday, it's all put together with quality in mind and value, and everything that goes into that is for the customer and how it shoots.
Exactly. It's neat to walk around the factory to see each and every department, and each one they're all specialized in whatever department they're doing, whether it's film dip or color fusion or machining in the machine shop or whatever it is. Each one of them put their heart and souls into building that part as good as they can make it. Because if they don't make that part as good as they can make it, it doesn't make a difference if the rest of it is coming out good if your little part isn't working well. So every single part has to work well together. And as a team, we're building great equipment to make sure that you guys have the best stuff that you can have.
And that's talking about PSE and their employees and taking their pride in the quality of work that they're producing to put into a product that they're going to ship out to customers all over the world.
That's right. Built and shipped right out of our factory.
Yep, exactly.
Well, anything else on the NXT that we need to cover?
No, I think we covered it all. We went through all the new features for this year.
Okay.
The only thing I can't stress enough is get your dealer and try it.
Well, I know that, I tell you what, we went a little long in the last segment. Let's go ahead and take a break, because I know you want to talk about the Warhammer, and Danny's just jacked up about that thing. He has ever since we came back from ATA. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, let's get into the Warhammer. Let's take a quick break. We'll step outside. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Welcome back, third segment of the show. And like we said before we went to a break there, that we want to talk about the Warhammer.
Uh-huh.
Danny, this is your segment.
I tell you what, I was blown away when you guys introduced this on what I think it was 9 a.m. the morning of ATA, and it was if I wasn't helping you guys out, I would have been right up there drooling over it. But I got to drool over it later. But anyways, you got to tell us about this Warhammer, because this is a phenomenal piece of equipment.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about the Warhammer. I mean, it's not new to the industry. Folks have seen some really small and compact crossbows over the last couple of years, but it's definitely new to our product line. Super excited about it. It's an ultra compact version of a crossbow, just like you guys have seen, putting out some phenomenal speeds, 405 feet per second out of this thing. In the relaxed position, I think the axle's only like 13 inches, and you get it to full draw, and it's sub 8 inches axle to axle in the cocked position. The neat thing about it, so many neat things about it, but with crossbows, the crossbow trend has been growing significantly over the last several years. There's no doubt about that, and so we feel like we needed to get our part in the market there for sure. This is all produced right in the PSE factory. Once again, all of our other crossbows are price point crossbows. We do source those out. But this particular, the Warhammer, is produced right here at the PSE factory. That super light and compact design makes it fit anyone. So, I mean, if you guys have kids and grandkids out there, and they can't pull the same bow that you can pull, but you can shoot that crossbow and hand it over to anyone else and have them have the same performance as you do. Built in a lot of safety features with this one. We have an oversized hand grip to keep your hand really down low below the travel path of the string. We have some finger guards built in underneath the barrel to add to that safety, so you can't get any closer up to the string when you're holding that front end. Got a forward trigger design and a compact stock, so it really lets you get in tight. So when you're in a ground blind, tree stand, if you have to move around, it's very maneuverable. And then even if you are out here out west where you don't spend a lot of time in a blind or a tree, it's small and light enough where you can strap it to your pack and get anywhere you need it to be pretty easily.
Yeah, that's that stock. We're showing the video from us at ATA shooting this thing. That stock on that is adjustable, correct?
No, it's a fixed stock on that one. It does have adjustable cheek plate, but the length of pull is fixed.
Okay, so then as we go forward, because I want to go from top to bottom of this thing, because I love this thing. This thing is that scope on there. Is that scope combination with what you got going there, you're going to be at 400 and plus feet per second on this thing. You're going to be able to reach out and touch something pretty good distance with practice.
Definitely. Depending on where you zero your scope, I mean, you can reach out and touch something with that particular model there. It's your standard 425 grain bolt that it comes with. So it's not like it's an ultra lightweight bolt or anything like that. It's your 425 grain bolt at 405 feet per second. So you're producing some phenomenal speeds, great kinetic energy, but the accuracy that you're maintaining with it is huge. Because of the design, it has such a short launch time, meaning from the time you pull the trigger to the time the bolt is off that barrel, it's so short. It gives you so little time to make a mistake. I know a lot of guys are going to shoot this off of shooting sticks or something like that when you're in the blind. So you're going to maintain some really good accuracy. And those kind of situations are probably 40 yards and under anyway. But if you are going to be doing any kind of spot and stock kind of thing, and you're in a situation where you have to shoot freehand, get a rest if you can. But if you have to shoot freehand, you're going to be super surprised with the accuracy you're going to maintain at long distance, because the launch time is so short that by the moment you pull that trigger, the bolt is off that barrel so fast, you're going to be striking behind your pin, meaning wherever your aiming dot is, that's where your bolt's going to hit right when you're ready to go.
And this scope is a lighted scope that comes with it?
It is a lighted scope. It lights up in green or red with multiple intensity. And it's a multi-reticle scope, so you're going to have multiple points of impact within the scope itself. And it comes with the crossbow. Comes with bolt, comes with the quiver, comes with the cocking strap. And then if you want it, a mechanical cocking mechanism, you can buy that as an add-on accessory.
This whole package you got going, we got a question is, what is the MSRP for this bad boy?
$14.99.
Say that one more time.
$14.99.
$14.99.
Okay.
And that put, you know what, folks, when you say that, you hear that, it's like, oh my gosh, that's so. But you know what? That's putting it into the same caliber and range of other ones that are out on the market. And trust me, I've shot this one. Mike shot this one. Ken shot this one, and the quality is there. And you got to, like we said, again, go out and shoot it. Don't listen to us. Don't listen to Bobby. Don't listen to. Make up in your own mind to get out there, and if you're going to get into crossbows, you hear about other brands, you hear about this, give them all a try. Again, buying a car, you want the best one for you.
The thing that really impressed me about it, Bobby, when I shot, the very first thing I noticed is that trigger breaks just like glass. I mean, there's something in that trigger there, the mechanism. It just when it goes off, there's not a long trigger pull like other ones that you see. It's very short, and it breaks hard.
It's short and crisp. That's pretty nice. But a lot of other crossbows have a really long trigger travel, and then once you reach the point of engagement, even at that point, it takes a little to get it to go off. But this one's short and crisp. I think you'll like it.
Oh, you will. Trust me.
And that alone, like you said, a long engagement and trigger pull, that also adds to people making movement inaccuracy. So with that, the one that y'all have put on the Warhammer, it's just going to improve that accuracy.
And this Warhammer is available in all black, Mossy Oak Breakup Country, and True Timber Strata.
There you go. So another one. You've seen it here. You hear Bobby talk about it. You hear we talk about it. But get out and try it. Get to your dealer. See if they got them in. Are we shipping these to the stores now?
we're shipping. I was about to mention that we did lose 9 weeks of production over this whole COVID lockdown. We had made several phone calls to the highest, the people above us in the state, and they wouldn't let us stay open during this shutdown. So we lost 9 weeks of production, but tomorrow starts our fourth week back. We built lots of Warhammers. We built lots of NXTs. So we're back up and running and shipping again.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear that another company is, along with businesses, are getting back on their feet, getting production back, getting people back out there working. I mean, it is so good to hear instead of, hate to say it, but being locked down. So it's good to hear that PSE's back up and running. I'm sure Pete's back in the back there, making sure everybody's working hard and they're doing their job.
Yeah. We still every day, making sure we're building the best product we can.
We just had a question come in here about the Warhammer. Is there a sling for freehand stability when shooting this?
We do have a sling option. It doesn't come with one, but we do have a real nice neoprene non-slip sling that you can get from it.
There you go. Get with an added sling, you get the freehand option, and it helps out. Once again.
Slings forever with our crossbows. We thought it was something that everyone wanted with their crossbow, and after shipping, I don't know how many thousands of those, found out most customers weren't keeping the sling. We figured we keep the selling price down and pull the sling out, and if you wanted to add it, then we'll make it available to you.
Really? Because I like a sling on my crossbow because I
carrying it in and out.
Yeah, I'm throwing it on my back and carrying it in and out. Wow.
So do I. So do most of us in the factory. And when we found out from a lot of our dealers that most of their customers weren't using the sling, it was kind of mind blowing. But another good point there is how we can listen to our customers and their demands and be able to react to them.
You know what? That is another great point. Is reaching out to your dealers, finding out what you're learning from the dealer, from the customer, that they can send back to you and everybody up there or out there in Tucson, and have a meeting, talk about it, and you find things out like that. It's awesome.
We do rely on our retailers quite a bit. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are today, and wasn't for the people buying from those retailers, we wouldn't be where we are today. So we owe it to them to listen to them and give them what they want.
Well, something I want to talk about, we kind of talked about before the show started, is something that I used to do a long time ago, haven't done a lot of it lately, is bow fishing. And I started digging through the PSE webpage. And, I know you guys had bow fishing rigs, but I didn't realize that you had 4 different models to choose from.
We have a lot of bow fishing models to choose from. Entry-level recurve models with the Kingfisher. We've got the Mud Dog, we've got the Discovery 2, and within all of those, they have multiple package options, or you can just buy the bow by themselves and build up the packages however you want. But one-stop shop right in our bow fishing section, our bow fishing category. Just about any style of bow fishing you want to do, whether it's in deep water fishing, we got it, and we have the light bolts to do it, the heavy bolts or arrows to do it. Anything and everything in bow fishing, all jam-packed into one bow fishing category from our product line.
Is that something that you're seeing? Is there a swing up in that? Is it staying pretty stable? I mean, I know we used to do it quite a bit back when my kids were younger, but since they've grown up, I've kind of gotten away from that.
We noticed about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that, bow fishing just really started to spike, and it was growing and growing and growing. It hasn't leveled out yet. It's still growing. I think a lot of people that want to do it have some equipment in their hands now, and now those guys are upgrading to better equipment with us now. So, when we were talking to our dealers once again, and they were telling us how we're getting our butts kicked on bow fishing equipment, we sat down and listened to them about some of the features and options that they wanted out of a bow fishing bow, and we were able to give it to them. We sold quite a few, and we're still selling quite a few, but now those guys that bought one or two a few years ago are ready to upgrade and get into the next level in bow fishing. So we have those new bows to offer as well.
I've always told people, I said, and I'm going to put this nicely, I'm going to say it's the most fun you can have on the water at night with your clothes on. But it's a blast.
Yeah, it is. It is so much fun. I mean, if you've never done it, get out and try it. when we go and do it, we don't have a lot of water down here in southern Arizona, so we do have to travel to do it. So I don't get to do it as often as I really like to. But man, once you get on the water, it's like time stands still. You're just, it's so much fun. Get out and try it, that's for sure. And then right now, it's the middle of seasons. Turkey seasons are all wrapping up by now. We have several months away before the fall deer seasons come along. So there's some dead time. It doesn't mean that you stop shooting your bow. You get a bow fishing bow, you're still hunting, you're still playing with your bows and arrows. Just stay active, stay with it, keep shooting. Whatever.
It's not the easiest thing to do either. And we always used to say the winner is not the person who shoots the biggest fish. The winner is who shoots the smallest fish. Because it's so much tougher to hit something in the water, number one, with a refraction. But also, the smaller the target, obviously, the harder it is to hit.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right.
So
I'm sure it's fun time, though.
So get to your local dealer, check them out. They've got the bow fishing rigs there.
And now with these cool nights, what actually helps is these cool nights right now is knocking the bugs down.
Yeah.
Because it's
huge.
It's huge because if you go out there, it's going to get into July and August when the warm nights kick in here. It's going to be bug fest, as you can see in the videos that we're showing. You can see the bugs in front of the lights. So, now's a good time. Get to your dealer, check them out. Get out on the water.
Absolutely, it's a blast. I got Danny out. I don't know.
It's been a few years since we got out. We had a blast.
4 or 5 years.
It was fun. So
and like you said, it's timeless. Before you know it, you go out at dusk, you get on the water, and before you know it, it's the sun's rising. You're like, wow, that night went quick.
that was my experience too. We got out at night. We were with a friend who had a nice bow fishing boat, and as soon as we got in the water, we were starting to shoot fish, and before we knew it, the sun was coming up, and we were on the water for 9 hours, and didn't even really realize it. It was so much fun. So tiring, too.
Yeah, you come strolling in, and it's a crack of dawn, and all of a sudden you've got to explain to the family why you've been out all night.
You show them all the fish.
Yeah. You were on the water all night. Yeah, right. No, really, I was. Look at all these fish.
Right. So
one thing to keep in mind, though, too, you mentioned that a little while ago about the cooler temperatures right now. When it's cooler, the fish are closer to the surface, too. And the warmer it gets, the deeper they're going to get. They're going to be harder to hit, harder to see. So get out and do it soon.
Exactly. Speaking of, we've talked about the Mach 1, the NXT. We've talked about the Warhammer. We've talked about your bow fishing. If somebody wants to go check out the website, could you give us the website as to where they can go check these all out?
And I'm glad you mentioned that because we just recently revamped our website a week ago tomorrow. So it's a lot better looking, a lot easier to navigate. The entire product line is up there now. We just had bows on it last year, but now you can see the entire product line, accessories, arrows, gear, all the bow fishing stuff. You can see the D3 bow fishing bow there too at www.psearchery.com. You can see the entire product line there.
You know what? And
you'll see me on the Heritage page. I finally made my website debut there this year after all these years.
Did you really? They put
me on an entry level recurve, but hey, I made the website finally.
Well, what I want to know is when are they going to have Danny on for those short draw bows?
I want to be on for the Warhammer. I'm not gonna. You put me on for a crossbow. I'm all in. So you know what? Like you said, new revamped website. We got to talk about arrows.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we take a break? We come back and we'll wrap up the show. We'll talk about the arrows.
And we got a couple of questions for Bobby, and we'll go from there.
All right, we're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at PSEArchery.com.
All right, last segment of the show. We've talked about bows. We've talked about bow fishing. We've talked about the crossbow. But what they've all got is an arrow.
Yeah, exactly. And a couple quick questions before we get into which PSE had arrows, and they did have arrows, but now they're making a resurgence in the arrows again. 2 questions I got for you. One, do you shoot, this is you personally, Bobby, do you shoot a mechanical or a fixed broadhead?
There you go.
There you go.
Big fan of both, but over recent years, I'm a bigger fan of mechanical. The performance I get out of the mechanical heads, the speed that we're producing with the bows lets you shoot a mechanical head with such large cutting diameter. We all know that the animals die from hemorrhaging, so the bigger the hole, the more blood loss, and the quicker they're going to fire. So I'm a big fan of mechanicals.
Okay.
Now, so with that being said, the Warhammer, can you do a mechanical out of that one as well?
Yeah. Oh. You have to. Some mechanicals might need some modifications, depending on how they deploy. Some of them might need an extra O-ring if it's that type of a mechanical. There are a lot of crossbow-specific mechanicals out there. I know Whacker makes a crossbow mechanical, and I shoot those out of my compound bow as well. Vortex broadheads I've had really good luck with. I shoot those out of my vertical bows as well. You can shoot mechanicals out of a crossbow.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say you definitely got to use the crossbow mechanical clips or O-rings that they do come with them. I know that. I just didn't know with the Warhammer shooting at what it was if there was any more. But I think that'd be good. Then just make sure you're safety. Make sure you're shooting the appropriate broadhead mechanical for if you're shooting a compound bow. And there is a difference for a crossbow. Don't mix those up.
Right.
You'll know it wrong. Guarantee.
You don't want to learn the hard way.
Exactly. So that leads us. So there was one other question. Do you shoot a heavy FOC?
You know what? To be real honest with you, I don't pull with FOC. I find the arrow that's the correct spine weight for me, and then within that bundle of arrows, as long as that arrow is spine consistent throughout the batch, that's what works well for me. So when I'm building a set of arrows, my arrows for a typical deer setup are between 390 and 410. If I get lucky enough to get an elk tag, I'll add a little more weight to it and pump it up around that 420 to 430 range. But to be honest with you, I'm more concerned with the total arrow weight. I've been getting really good performance with putting an arrow together that way, and not even really being too overly concerned with FOC. I know that came up. There was a resurgence in FOCs over the FOC discussion over Facebook recently. But to answer your question, I don't really fool with FOC. I'm not really personally finding a super great advantage.
Right, exactly. And I've seen you post on Facebook your shooting ability, and trust me, you probably could whittle a stick and shoot just as good with that because I've seen you shoot, and it's like the guy can shoot. So, like you said, which leads us into the arrows. Tell us about what's going on with PSE and the carbon force arrows.
Well, that was a good segue into it, and then I'll also explain a little bit more about my arrow build, so you know what it is I do to get performance out of it. But no matter how much time you spend building your arrow, how much thought you put into building your arrow, it doesn't do any good if your arrows aren't good. So we've had our own line of carbon force arrows over the years. Radial X-Weave arrows have been by far the most popular arrows that we've had. The current X-Weave arrow that we have is called the HD Hunter and HD Hunter Select. And so those are the standard, I call them your standard, carbon arrow, hunting carbon-sized arrow. They're grain weight matched. They're spine consistent throughout the bundle. Very strong arrow, very economical arrow. You're going to get, probably the best arrow for your money out of the Radial X-Weave. But one of the ones that is kind of a sleeper and probably the best kept secret that we have is the PSE Extreme Penetration arrow. This arrow is going on its third year with us now. It's a smaller diameter shaft arrow with an insert-outsert system on it there. These arrows here are super spine consistent throughout the bundle. So that's where you're going to notice you're going to get the best performance out of your arrow. If your arrows are not spine consistent, you're not going to get very good groups out of them. A lot of people won't notice, to be real honest with you, but the more spine consistent your arrow is, the better your groups and performance is going to be. When you're looking at ads and you're looking at our catalog, a lot of the big bullet points that you see is straightness, because it's easy for us to understand straightness. And in our mind, the straighter the better. And yes, that is true, but it doesn't matter how straight that arrow is if your arrows aren't spine consistent throughout that bundle. And that's what you're going to find throughout our entire product line. The spine consistency is incredible. But on top of all of that, you need to make sure that you have a good steering system on there too. And I like a lot of helical on mine. I use the Arizona Easy Fletch Mini jig, and it puts a real hard right helical on there. And I've tested a lot of vanes out in the market, a lot of vane styles. AAE by far makes the best ones out there. And this one is the Max Hunter Stealth. It's a lower profile design, 3.2 or 2.9 inches with a lower profile. You get the same overall surface steering area out of this vane with the length of it, but because it's lower profile, it makes it quieter. You get less drag. Your downrange groups you're going to maintain good downrange groups, and more importantly, good downrange velocity. Because I don't have as much of a parachute effect back here, it's not slowing that arrow down as much. So my downrange velocity maintains a lot of downrange velocity there.
You know, and then that leads, I think you just explained one of the questions that just came across was, what is your process for building an arrow vane preference? It sounded like you've tested multiple vanes and multiple helicals to come up with what Bobby likes to shoot.
I have, and mine isn't the only way to do it, but I will tell you, I did spend a lot of time over the years finding this combination. It works really, really well for me. I tried the high-profile vanes, and they work. They do work. I tried straight vanes. I tried offset vanes. I tried other helical on them. But as long as you have some kind of a helical or some kind of an offset to spin that arrow, you're gonna get good too. But the more helical you can put on there, the more that arrow's gonna want to. The quicker the arrow's gonna spin as soon as it gets off the string, and the sooner that arrow's gonna stabilize. It's gonna help maintain your broadhead groups. You're gonna get good points of impact. Maintain good point of impact with your field points and broadheads by giving it a good steering system.
You know, you're talking about building an arrow, the Arizona Easy Fletch Mini. That's the one that I've got here, and there's just something real satisfying. It's almost like reloading for people who shoot rifles or pistols, but for an archer, building your own arrow, there's something really satisfying about fletching your own arrows and building that combination that works for you. I don't know any other way to describe it, but that's, it's just real satisfying.
What's your opinion? What length vanes do you have?
Either pretty much right at 3.
Okay, you're right there then. So then you got the 4, the 3s, the smaller ones. What would you say about somebody that is that another tested thing? You shot smaller length vanes to the 3s to maybe a 4. You tested them, and that was the best one for you.
I did. This was the best one for me. That the shorter, higher profile vanes that are out there that are designed for string broadheads, they did work well. But I did find that with this particular combination, I was able to maintain better field point and broadhead accuracy. Meaning my point of impacts with field points and broadhead stayed the same with this setup compared to any other setup. Whether I went with a shorter vane with as much helical or a shorter vane that was smaller, I tried 1.9s. I tried the 2 1/4 inch Mach hunters. I tried to any combination there in between, and this particular combination for me personally seemed to work out the best. They're quieter because you don't have that big, giant, tall, high-profile vane that's fluttering downrange. So it's quieter on the shot. It's quieter downrange. The animal doesn't hear it coming. Because it's a little bit longer than some of those short, high-profile vanes, you're still maintaining the same overall surface area to displace the wind, to displace the air to grab that arrow and start spinning it. And plus, because it's not so tall, you're not creating that big parachute effect back here. So you're gonna maintain better downrange velocity too. And luckily, where we are, we have a lot of arrows, we have a lot of vanes, we have machines, we had the indoor range to do it. So hopefully, I'm saving a lot of you guys a lot of time and money. And I wouldn't think twice about just diving right into that setup right there, feeling 100% confident with the performance I was going to get.
You know, and that's another nice thing Mike and I do, and obviously you do, is we can build a set of arrows, and you know, you get that whim that says, hey, you know what, I'm thinking about, you know, I'll fletch up maybe a half a dozen of a 3-inch vane or a smaller vane or a tall, you know, and then go shoot them and say, well, how does that shoot? It's again, it's like patterning for turkey, right? Out of your what gun?
What does your gun like to shoot? What does your bow like to shoot?
What does your bow like to shoot? And
right.
It comes down to you have your bow, you've got your arrows, you put them together, and then you go and you fine tune it with the fletching. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the questions that was asked. And I know the engineer of the arrows, the engineer of the bows, you can put them together, but then you got the luxury of fine tuning them.
Yeah. And it doesn't take much. The bows nowadays, we're learning that these bows are so much easier to tune than some of the bows from years and years ago. That ECS cam system is so easy. And even if you didn't get into an ECS cam bow, the 3B cam on the Bow Madness models, on the Centrix models, the single cam on our Stinger model bow, the spin cam on our Brooch bow. I mean, everything from top to bottom. Everything is getting so much easier to tune. It's so much easier to put together a bow and arrow combination anymore. Really, all you need to do is go to the PSE website, go to the arrow page, look at what draw length you're shooting, or what arrow length you're shooting, what your draw weight is, and we'll tell you exactly which arrows to get. And you can buy an arrow that's already fletched, and if you don't want that fletched arrow and you want to build your own with something like that, you can buy any of our arrows of bare shafts as well. You can build them up like that and get that combination for you.
You know, in talking about building your own arrow and the spine charts and all that, for people may be watching or listening to the podcast version of this, talking about spine, explain to some of those people what we're talking about with spine and why that's important.
So the spine of the arrow is basically how the arrow flexes like that. And the heavier the spine, the less it's going to flex, and the lighter the spine, the more it's going to flex. So basically, we offer a lot of different spine options, arrow size options, basically, because we're all so unique. We're all different. We have different arrow lengths. We have different draw weights. So not one arrow is going to work with every single bow. Mm-hmm. They're going to shoot out of that bow, but to get the absolute best performance, you want to get the arrow that's matched to your setup. So you need to find out how long your overall arrow length is, from the throat of your nock to the end of the shaft, not measuring your point, but just further enough to the end of the shaft. That's the total arrow length. And then once you figure that out, you figure out how many pounds you're pulling, and then once you have those two points, you go to the arrow chart, and it'll tell you exactly what size arrow is going to work best out of your bow. I promise you, you're gonna realize the difference in performance going that way. And I will say this too: always err on the stiff side. If you're looking at the chart and you're right in between one shaft size to the other, always go to the stiff side. It's safer for one. But it's going to stay within, maintain great performance.
There you go.
So there you go. Go check it over at the updated website over at PSEArchery.com. Tony Thompson says here he's been watching Bobby shoot on YouTube and is awesome, he says. And Bobby, what would you recommend for a person new to crossbow? Which one of the PSE line would you suggest for somebody like that?
Just any one of the crossbows in the product line is going to work out well. It's going to do what we need to do. I guess what we need to know is what kind of price point we want to be within. Another thing we want to know is what's going to be your primary use for it. Knowing some of those things will help. But I think probably in our product line, the one bow that I would recommend that's going going to be a great all-around bow, and it's not going to break the bank, is the Fang HD. The Fang HD, that's running up there in 385 feet per second, something like that. Comes in a complete package. Right out of the box, you're getting a multi-reticle illuminated scope. You're getting bolts. You're getting a quiver. You're getting the complete package right out of the box. And I think that Fang HD is the one I would recommend.
So there you go. Check it out. Get over to the website. Get to a PSE dealer. Check it out. Shoot it. Make sure you like it. But like Bobby said, there's a couple different factors that the pro shop's going to ask you. Price point, what you're going to be going after. And then they'll be able to get you a test drive in one of the models that they have there. And hopefully you like it.
Yeah, and shoot them all. That way, you might think you're you want a certain range, and all of a sudden you find out, man, I got to have that Warhammer.
That's what I was going to say. Danny didn't already tell you on the Warhammer a little while ago, then that Fang HD is the next one I would take a look at for sure.
Yeah, that thing is, to me, it's just simply amazing how narrow it is and how fast that thing shoots. So I'll tell you what, we're getting here to the end of the show. I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the podcast portion of the show. For those of you who are listening in, but we'll hang out here online for just a minute afterwards, and we'll have maybe a question or two pop in that we'll answer. But for those of you on the podcast, that'll do it for us this week. Remember, go over to our social media pages, over to Twitter, over to YouTube. Give us a like, give us a follow, share our show if you don't mind, and if you're listening to us over on iTunes, give us a review over there. That helps us out as well. So that'll do it for us this week. We'll be back again next week. Y'all take care. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Buck Bait,
Better the Hunt,
Rebel 6 Rubs and Seasonings,
Easy Cut,
Lim Walker Game Calls,
Hunter's Plain Coffee,
Packer Max,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Scent Blocker,
Scent Lock,
Copper John,
and Stanislawski Release Aids.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.